So next we're going to talk about the meeting registration module. And actually we're going to discuss two different modules here. We're going to discuss the events calendar as well as meeting setup and registration. The events calendar is dynamically populated directly from your meetings database in IMIS. You can filter the calendar by a specific type of event or events in a particular location. And here we see in this example, events are being filtered by location for events in San Diego. Our online calendar gives you the option to toggle between different calendar views. And here we're looking at the 1 month or monthly view or graphical format. But you can also switch and click to a list view as well. The list view also allows the user to filter the calendar for a subset of events. And again, we can see based on our previous selection, the calendar is being filtered by events that are in San Diego. I want to mention that authorized users have the ability to schedule new meetings online, which would then be written back into the events module in IMIS. An example of that would be maybe a chapter leader could be authorized to schedule chapter meetings. In this example, California Restaurant Association has decided not to provide that option to their users, so the button is simply hidden and it's not even an option. If you did want to provide that as an option to certain users, when they're logged in, those users only would be able to see that button. If they were not authorized to schedule a meeting, they simply would not see that button. That would not be an option for them. The event details come directly from IMIS, and the calendar can display the event details stored in the database, really as much or as little as you like. You can register for simple events with just one click and add the registration to your shopping cart. But you could also use this page to pass through from here to another web page. Because for major events, the one-step, one-button registration just really is not enough, and that's where the event registration comes in. It walks the user through the process of registering. In this example, our client Isaka has a link to register now from their homepage. When the user clicks that button, they will be directed to the ISG Web Meeting Setup and Registration module to register for the event. The multi-step registration wizard begins with an overview of steps. And those are the steps that we see right here in the middle of the screen. Each major event can be set up with its own registration wizard. With ISG Web, you also have the ability to register someone else for a meeting, and you can also register an entire group of employees at one time. Right here you see the Register Now button. However, you could also, if it was part of your business rules, you could also have register someone else and have a group registration. Those options are up to you based on your business rules. As you can see in this example, the registrant data was populated with IMIS profile data, and the registrant can click to preview their badge. You can ask meeting-specific questions that can combine demographics, special needs, hotel and golf preferences, and options for answers are made easy with custom formats like drop-down lists. Registrant class and pricing are automatically determined based on the registrant's login, and each type of selection is formatted according to the groupings and categories defined during setup to offer only the relevant options. The user is able to view function details as part of the process to give registrants really the context that they need to make informed choices. You can also automatically check for function conflicts and enforce access rules. Conflicts can be set up by time slot, IMIS conflict code, or manual entry. And you can also enforce other rules, including automatically adding certain functions depending on the registrant's previous selection. ISACA also asks for some additional registrant information, such as permission to display the registrant's name on the roster, if they have any special dietary requirements, etc. The user can then preview a summary of their registration. Selections are grouped by step so that any page can be edited, and these are the same steps that we saw in the very beginning, the numbered steps that were in the middle of the page, and the user can simply click this edit button to go right to that section. A summary table is also sent to the registrant as part of the confirmation email. The automatic email can also include event-specific text and branding, and the registrant could then proceed to check out if they're okay with that summary. And this will bring the user to the unified shopping cart. If a user were registering a group of people, each registrant would be processed as a separate line item, and all registrations could be paid for with just one credit card. In this case, ISACA also offers the registrants the option to pay via check or bank transfer, and that's what we see right here. These options, again, are up to you and based on your own business rules. So if that's an option that you do not want to offer to your members or to your registrants, that button would simply be hidden and they would not see that as an option. One other thing we were able to do for ISACA, which is what we see here, is that we were able to show and display how much money the user would be saving if they chose to join now. If the user were to click this Join Now button, they would be taken to ISACA's membership application so that they could apply for membership to save this money. If the user does choose to follow that link and applies for the membership, they would receive the member benefits and member pricing as soon as their membership has been put into the shopping cart. And then they can pay for their membership and their registration and any other purchases all at once. And again, they would immediately get that member pricing and the member benefits. New with ISG Web, certainly want to mention this. This is very exciting. Your users now have the ability to edit existing meeting registrations. Once a user has registered for a meeting, they can now go back and log back into that meeting and add or remove functions, print badges, check in, manage guests, etc. This page that we see here, My Upcoming Meetings, would allow any user to review future meetings that they are registered for and also for registrations that they've purchased for others. So in this example, you can see that John Smith is logged in and he's looking at meeting registrations for Karen Simpson. You can see at the bottom of the page that you can send an email, a copy of the registration, you can print it. But you can also from this page navigate to the registration details page by clicking this annual conference or the hyperlinked meeting that they're registered for and going to the registration details page. This is the page that shows all of the details for the registration that was selected in the previous screen. And this page really acts as the menu for editing, for all of the editing with the registration. In the registration confirmation email that registrants receive, you can place a link to this registration details page so that all registrants can click on the link and see the details of the registration that was just purchased. And that can be done immediately because of the real-time integration with IMIS. Users will have the ability to add or purchase additional functions, or they can also cancel some of the functions that they've already purchased. You are able to determine if this should be restricted but to be allowed only before a certain date or before the registrant has checked into the conference. With Manage Guests, the registrant can add or remove guest registrations. The registrant can also modify the guest information from this page. The page will present the seats that are available according to the purchased function, and this could really be useful when managing banquet tables or other types of great guest functions. The print badge and check-in page will allow registrants and guests as well to check into the conference and print a copy of their badge, as well as tickets for any functions that require them. This page can also be used as a standalone page, so you could have a link to this page on your website or in emails, and it can also is also been designed to be used at on-site kiosks. You also have the ability to track and limit the number of badges that each user has obtained, and even though a guest is not an authenticated user, they can still use this page to print their badge and check in. But in this case, the page does not allow the user to modify the registration, but simply print a copy of the badge. In order to gain access to this page when the user is not logged in, they would have to search. The page would allow the guest to locate their registration. And you can see that users are allowed to log in if they are a registered user simply by logging in up here. Or they could locate their registration by providing a combination of data. And those exact rules can be adjusted to your own specific needs, which data is required to locate that registration. One thing I do want to mention, the edit registration functionality, which is pretty new with ISG Web, is currently available, and it's a part of the meeting setup and registration module. So it's not a separate module. if you were looking at ISG Web and purchased the meeting setup and registration module, it would be available to